I'm going to tell you the things that nobody told me. Not the stuff on the cruise line website, not the stuff in the glossy YouTube thumbnails, not the here's what's included in your suite breakdown, the actual stuff. That I really wish someone had sat me down 12 months ago and said, hey, listen, here's what you need to know stuff. Because I moved onto a cruise ship full time and I figured out a lot of this the hard way. And if you are thinking about this life, or you're just obsessed with cruise content and you want the inside track, this video is for you. I'm your sacrificial lamb. You're welcome. Hi everyone, I am Laura and welcome to Living on Cruise Control, where just over a year ago, I left the corporate grind to pursue my dream of living full-time on cruise ships. Here on the Majestic Princess, we are currently docked in Le Havre, France, and today we are doing a deep dive into everything I wish I had known before I did this. If you're new here, stick around. And if you've been following for a while, you already know I'm going to be honest. So let's get into it. Number one, and I cannot stress this enough, the loyalty program is not a nice little perk. It is a financial strategy. When I first started thinking about this life, I knew cruise lines had loyalty programs. I thought, okay, I'll collect some points, get an upgrade eventually, cute. No. The loyalty program, specifically the casino program with Princess, which is how I operate, is the engine that makes this life actually sustainable. It is how I have cruises booked into 2027. It is how port fees and taxes often become my biggest expense instead of the cabin itself. If you are going to live on ships full time and you are not aggressively building your relationship with the casino program from day one, you are leaving enormous value on the table. Now, I have an entire video specifically on how I earn free cruises through the casino program. The link is in the description, and I'm going to say this once. If you are serious about this life, go watch that video after this one. This is not a sales pitch. It is genuinely one of the most important things I've shared on this channel. The short version for right now, learn the program. Learn what triggers offers, learn how the math works, because the people who crack the code on this, and it is crackable, change the entire financial picture of living at sea. Number two, your stuff. Everybody thinks about the what do I pack question, but I'm not talking about packing. I'm talking about the deeper, more uncomfortable version of this question, which is, what are you going to do with your entire life's worth of accumulated stuff? Before I did this, I had a home that I lived in, furniture, a kitchen full of things, closet full of things, a car, the slow accumulation of years of being a person on land. And you have to deal with all of that before you can even think about living on a ship. I am here to tell you that getting rid of your stuff is emotional in a way that you are not prepared for. Not because the stuff matters, but because every single item becomes a tiny little decision about your past and your future at the same time. The Le Creuset pot, the boxes in the storage unit you haven't opened in 4 years, that random collection of things you don't have a category but somehow always end up in the pile of, I'll deal with this later. Later becomes very real, very fast when you have a ship to board. I remember the first time that I downsized when we were living in Arizona and getting ready to move to Washington. We were actually going to move to Bainbridge Island. And at that time, I think I had maybe 3 TVs, more TVs than we needed. And we decided to start with an estate sale. And I remember clearly this hand glass blown plate. So handmade glass blown, beautiful plate that I had purchased at an art festival in Scottsdale, and I had paid hundreds, if not over $1,000 for this designer plate that stood as a decoration. You couldn't actually use it as a plate. And I had put $100 on it. So I thought $100 was a pretty big deal, like 90% off. And someone at the estate sale said, would I take 50 cents for it? Because they thought it was marked $1. And I had to leave. I honestly needed my son and nephew and family to take on that estate sale from then on. I just couldn't watch that happening and people rifling through my home and through my things. It's definitely an emotional experience. My advice is to start earlier than you think you need to and be ruthless, not because minimalism is some enlightened lifestyle philosophy, but because the ship is small. Your cabin has limited space and everything you bring needs to earn its place. What I actually live on a ship with now, the wardrobe, the tech setup, the few items that make the cabin feel like home, that could be its own video. And maybe it should be. Let me know in the comments if you'd want that. Number 3, and anyone who works remotely or has tried to do literally anything online from a ship already knows where this is going. Internet. The internet on a cruise ship is improving. It genuinely is. It is much better than it was even a couple of years ago. But it is still a relationship that requires patience and management and occasionally some very colorful language, especially when I'm trying to upload a 50-minute video and it says it's going to take me 40 hours. Here's what I wish I had known. First, not all ships are equal. The satellite coverage, the plan options, the actual real world speeds, they can vary significantly by ship and by route. Something that happened 2 days ago when I was literally just working on answering comments. Simple, no need to upload, and the internet kept spinning. So I called guest services to see if maybe there was a spot on the ship that had stronger Wi-Fi, and it turns out that they were doing mandatory maintenance all day until 8 o'clock at night, and this was maybe 10 in the morning. It was a port day, so I thought I could connect and get some things done, but it turns out that that was not an option. So I wound up going into port and logging in using my phone as a hotspot, and I was able to get that work done. But what started out as I'm hoping I can get a lot of work done today, had a bit of a variation to it. So internet is not something that you can really rely on with 100% certainty. Before you commit to a ship for an extended stay, know what you're getting into connectivity-wise. This matters more than almost any other logistical factor if you're running a business, posting content, or doing anything that requires reliable upload speeds. Second, have a backup plan. I mean a real one. Not that I'll figure it out. An actual plan. Whether that's a local SIM card import for critical uploads, a hotspot situation, or knowing which ports have reliable Wi-Fi options nearby. Like a Starbucks, coffee shop, sometimes even McDonald's, which I don't condone at all. I haven't actually been inside a McDonald's in a long time, but I know a lot of people do go there for the Wi-Fi, for the free Wi-Fi. Third, build your workflow around the internet, not the other way around. Batch your uploads for port days or those days in between ships whenever possible. Pre-download what you need, work with the rhythm of the ship instead of against it. It's that patience that you learn over time. It's that patience that you learn from the ocean. I cannot tell you how many times in my first few months I was trying to upload something critical at sea and just watching that little progress bar not move. That is a unique kind of frustration that I would like to spare you if possible. There are some people that are talking a lot about Gig Sky. I'm not familiar with this program at all, but I have a friend of mine that has an amazing YouTube channel that talks all about technology. So I'm going to go ahead and put him here and link to his channel in the description. His name's Dave Poon, and he's also a really beautiful person. Number 4, the social side of this. When I told people I was moving on to a cruise ship, a lot of them said some version of, oh, that sounds amazing. You'll meet so many people. And they weren't wrong, but here's what they didn't mention. The social dynamics of cruise ship living are unlike anything else. Passengers rotate in and out. Every cruise, new people. Every turnaround, you potentially lose people you've genuinely connected with. And you start building all over again. That is both a gift and a challenge. I find it interesting that when a new set of passengers come on board, one of the first questions that people will ask you is, where are you from? And that starts an interesting conversation because my answer to that is, I'm from right here. This is where I'm from. This is where I'm based. This is my home. And instantly the conversation becomes all about me and this lifestyle, which is super fun. But I prefer to kind of turn things back around and learn more about the people that I'm meeting, not necessarily making it the lore show. It's not necessary. And sometimes a little awkward. So, the gift and the challenge. First of all, the gift, you never stop meeting interesting humans from all over the world. I've had some of the best conversations of my life with fellow passengers. People you'd never potentially even cross paths with on land. Different backgrounds, different countries, different life stories. The challenge, you can start to feel like you're always in meet new people mode. Hello.
That's why we're on the Sky Princess.
Let's get in line over here. Hello. How you guys doing? Hello. Oh yeah. Oh, cute. Is that going to make people think that there's the antivirus song here? Hello. Is that Ratatouille? Are you the head chef? Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. Jackson Diaz. Hello, Elliot. And that is genuinely tiring sometimes, especially if you're an introvert wearing an extrovert's hat for this life. I think I'm a mix of both. I think I'm definitely an extrovert where people bring energy, but I also like my alone time and need my downtime to recharge. I feel like I'm a balance of both. There's also the crew dynamic, which I think is underappreciated. The crew on these ships are extraordinary people. Building real relationships with crew members, not just a transactional, hi, thanks, but actual human connection has been one of the most unexpected privileges of this life.
Yeah, guys. One, two, three, one, two, three, guys. 1, 2, 3, check. Page number 1, page number 1. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Laura. Happy birthday to
Look at how beautiful it is. Of course, it's a special cake.
Everybody grab a fork.
I give you the small.
We can cut it up. See, living on cruise ship comes with its perks. Crew becomes family. I get really sad. They see everything. They know everything. And when they know you, this life gets warmer and easier in ways that are hard to quantify. My advice, invest in those crew relationships. Learn names, say thank you like you mean it. And if you're an introvert, protect your energy. Give yourself permission to have a night in. Or spend a port day on the ship. Number 5, and this one is genuinely important, so I want you to actually hear me. Your health on a ship is your responsibility, and you need a plan before you sail. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but the ship's medical center, it exists. It's there, and in a real emergency, it is invaluable. But it is also not cheap. It is not your normal co-pay doctor visit, and depending on what you need, it can add up fast. Before you start a long-term cruising life, get a full physical, know where you stand, handle any pending health stuff on land before you go, because handling it mid-cruise is more complicated and more expensive. Good travel insurance, and I mean actually good. Read the policy, understand what's covered for medical evacuation, emergency care, extended trips. This is a non-negotiable. Manage your medications, know your quantities, know your refill strategy, know what's available in which ports, because not all medicine can be purchased with or without a prescription in every country. Some ports are easy, some aren't. Plan ahead by at least a full cruise cycle. And on a more daily level, the ship makes it very easy to not move. Elevators are right there, the buffet's right there, the deck chairs are right there. One of the most important things I've done for myself in this life is to be intentional about movement and eating in a way that doesn't feel punishing, but also doesn't let the ship's environment just swallow me up. This is a whole topic I could spend an entire video on, and I probably should. Comment below if you want a wellness at sea breakdown. Number 6, nobody told me about the paperwork. When you live on land, your administrative life has its home. Your mail goes somewhere, your bank knows where you live, your subscriptions auto-renew, things have addresses. When you are living on ships and your address is whatever deck you happen to be on this week, all of that gets complicated. Mail forwarding, banking, tax residency questions, health insurance that covers you intentionally, setting up a mailing address, whether that's a trusted family member's address, a mail forwarding service, or something else. These are all things you need to solve before you need them to be solved. I won't go into every specific here because everyone's situation is different. And honestly, you should be getting advice from the appropriate professionals for your own circumstances. But I will say, these things are all solvable. They just require you to think about them ahead of time instead of mid-cruise when something goes sideways. The people who stress the least about this stuff are the people who set up the systems before they left land. That's the lesson. Number 7, and this one is cruise nerd specific. It's so interesting to me how the seagulls like walk along the land. Oh, that one's like picking up a rock. Interesting. Okay. Number 7, and this one is cruise nerd specific, but very real if you're doing back-to-backs like I do. Turnaround days. If you're doing consecutive cruises, which is essentially how you live on ships full time, turnaround day is the day the cruise ends and the new one begins. Usually with a lot of logistics crammed into a window that is smaller than it looks on the schedule. Here's what I know now that I did not know then. Know your ship's policy for back-to-back guests early. Each ship handles it slightly different, and depending on the port that you're in and the country that you're in, the process can be different. Some let you stay in your cabin, some move you, some have a specific lounge situation, some give you a dedicated crew member to help. Find out in advance, not the morning of. Pack a small day bag for turnaround. Even if you're staying on the ship, you may need to go through the terminal process, and having your essentials accessible without touching your full luggage is just smarter. Don't overload turnaround days with heavy port plans. I have made that mistake. You think, oh, I have all day in the city, perfect. But then you also have to deal with all the admin of the crossover, and you can end up exhausted. And that's not the way you want to start your next cruise. Sometimes turnaround day is a rest day, and that is okay. In fact, sometimes it's the best rest day because there's hours where the first set of passengers is gone and the second set of passengers haven't really come on board yet. And sometimes the ship can almost feel completely empty. Those are great times to go sit in the jacuzzi, relax by the pool, grab something light to eat, go to the gym. Port day turnaround days are awesome for the gym, one of my favorites. And the last thing, number 8, and this is less practical and more human. You will change. This life will change you, not in a dramatic before and after way necessarily, but in a slow, consistent, undeniable way. Your relationship to stuff will change. Your relationship to time will change. What feels important will shift. Some things you thought you couldn't live without, you'll barely even think about. Some things you never thought mattered, a good sunrise, a quiet morning, a great cup of coffee, an amazing conversation with a stranger will become the things you plan your day around. I didn't know how to prepare for that, and I don't think you fully can, but I think knowing it's coming makes it easier to lean into instead of resist it. The people who struggle most with this life, from what I've seen, are the ones who are trying to recreate their land life on a ship. The same routines, the same comfort, the same anchors, just floating. The people who thrive are the ones who let the ship reshape them a little, who get curious instead of frustrated when things are different, who say, this is not what I expected, with wonder instead of annoyance. That's not always easy to do. It's still a work in progress. I'm still that person in progress. I don't have it figured out, but I'm better, more honest, more alive version of myself than I was in that corporate office. And that, more than any port or any ship or any sunset, is the thing I'm most grateful for. So 8 things I genuinely wish I had known before I moved on to a cruise ship full time. If you're planning this life, I hope something in here saves you some time, some stress, or some money. And if you're just here because you love cruise content and this life looks interesting to you, I'm glad you're here too. That's half of my audience, and I love you just as much. If this was helpful, please share it. Pass it along to whoever in your life is thinking about this, and drop your questions in the comments, because I read all of them, and your questions genuinely shape what I make next. Everything I mentioned, the community, the links, it's in the description below. I'm Laura. This is Living on Cruise Control, and I hope to see you on a cruise one day. Thanks. Say hi to Mario from the Philippines.
Hello.
How long have you worked for Princess?
It's 31 years.
Stop.
Yes,
3-1?
Since 1994 until
Are you
now. I'm
kidding?
still standing.
Wow.
Yeah,
A legacy. What's been your favorite ship?
All ships is my favorite.
Is one of them your most favorite? What was your first ship?
My first ship is Golden Princess.
Golden
The old one.
Princess? Oh, I never even heard of it.
Yes, 1994.
Wow.